With the dominance of the current meta, D.Va has continued to be one of the most used heroes in the game. With Zenyatta being on the opposing team most of the time, the self-destruct ultimate is the go-to team wipe combo when combined with the Graviton. That being said, I feel like most D.Vas still don't have a grasp of the timings and techniques associated with the effective D.Va bomb into Graviton combo. Hopefully after watching this video, you will have a few techniques in your back pocket to hit that fat play of the game combo in your future matches. Before we start, I wanted to mention we have reached 1,000 subscribers, and I want to say a quick thank you to all those who have subscribed to my channel. Looking forward to your continual viewership and participation. While watching this video, I want to challenge you to think critically on the factors that lead to a great D.Va bomb. Doing so will allow you to creatively execute effective self-destruct combos in the future in other ways than those just outlined in this video. With that being said, let's get this video started. The first technique is the air bomb technique, which blows up in mid-air to maximize coverage but is low enough to deal maximum damage to enemies on the ground. So now let's take a look on the proper technique to execute this air bomb. So first you want to execute your booster. Then you want to look up and press the ultimate button when your boosters are about 50% through, which is roughly 1 second. And then from there, you should be able to execute a perfect bomb. Some of the pros of this technique is that it is relatively easy to execute. And by blowing up in the area of effect is maximized, and it's harder for enemies to hide from it in open spaces. The cons of this technique is that it sometimes takes longer to execute since you are boosting for 1 second before ulting, and that gives your enemies more time to react. Also, if the Reinhardt is in the right position, he can easily block the entirety of the damage. Let's take a look at this being done in a contenders match. They D.Va bomb, and as you can see here, the Reinhardt, all he has to do is hold up his shield directly above him and he blocks all the damage and no one dies from this self-destruct. So as you can see, even though it can cover a lot of area, if the Reinhardt is in the right position, he can block all the damage. The next technique is the nosedive bomb, in which you drive the bomb into the ground to limit the distance it boosts so that it would perfectly land on the Graviton itself. To execute this, first you must look down at a certain angle, and then you press booster and your ultimate key at the same time. This will cause your bomb to move in a vertical direction, but at a slower pace since it's boosting into the ground. You ideally want it to land perfectly in the middle of the Graviton. This technique is usually reserved for the Graviton combo, and because it's in the center of the Grav, it's difficult for the enemy to block everyone from the fatal damage. In addition, being that you boost an ultimate right away, the bomb will blow up as soon as possible, which gives the enemy team less time to react. The difficult part of this technique is that it's extremely hard to gauge the distance of the bomb, and more often than not, it's easy to give it too much horizontal angle and boost past the Grav. It's also subject to the map architecture. It can easily snag on a part of the map and end up not moving in the correct speed or direction. You want to practice in a custom game using the nosedive, looking downwards at various angles to get a feel for the distance the mech will go. In general, the angle is very, very small, possibly under 10 degrees, and every little minute change in your angle will greatly affect the distance. The next technique consists of dropping off your bomb right in the middle of graved enemies. To execute this, you want to boost immediately towards the Graviton enemies. Then you want to get to the most centermost portion of the Graviton in between as many enemies as possible, and then cut off your boosters while at the same time pressing the ultimate button. This technique is great because it's by far the easiest to execute and aim. However, at a further distance, the execution and timing with the Graviton becomes delayed, giving the enemy team more time to react to the bomb. Also, sometimes you can't aim perfectly in the center, so there's a potential for a Reinhardt shield to be able to fully block the damage. Let's see this done in a contenders clip. I want you to watch Hawk over here, the white D.Va, and right when they grav, he will move towards the Graviton and drop off his D.Va mech. And from there, he will get a double kill in the process. The last technique is the short toss bomb, which consists of the bomb flying in the air for a very short period of time and then landing immediately in the Graviton. In order to execute this, you want to boost at an upward angle as soon as you hear the Graviton. Then you want to cut your boosters about 25% through the dial, which is 0.5 seconds. And at the same time, press your ultimate button. This will land the bomb perfectly on top of the enemies, and it will drop in between them when the Graviton duration ends. The pros of this technique is that you can safely do it at a distance, which allows you to remech safely. Also, since you are boosting for a less amount of time, the bomb will blow up a lot quicker, and this will allow you to time it better with the Graviton. And lastly, since it's in the middle of the Graviton, it's a lot harder to block. The biggest challenge with this technique is that it takes a lot of practice to aim and execute. With my limited experience, I oftentimes failed getting the bomb to land on or in the middle of the enemies. Thankfully, there are plenty of contender clips out there showing perfect execution. So now let's move on to a few tips to get the most out of your D.Va bomb combos. You want to time your ultimate as closely as possible to the time Graviton is used. As you can see here, in a Graviton, the enemies are slightly elevated and bunched up. Right when it ends is when you want your bomb to blow up, because they spread out upon landing, and it is extremely hard to protect everyone. You also want to keep track of enemy cooldowns. Even though Transcendence no longer protects against the combo, a Zarya with both protective bubbles can keep both herself and another enemy alive during a bomb. This is a more advanced tactic, but if you have a team with coordination, you can use a Lucio to boop the enemy Reinhardt from shielding his teammates right when the bomb is about to explode. Lastly, you want to practice this as much as possible. A fellow player, Speakeasy, has developed a custom game that will allow you to easily practice these D.Va bomb combos without the need for other human players. You can find more information in the video description below. I know what you're thinking, so which technique is best? I would say it depends on the situation. The following are my personal opinions based off what I've practiced and watched in competitive league matches. The air bomb is best if you're at a longer distance from the battle and or in a more open-spaced overhead area. Otherwise, I prefer to use the drop-off technique, which ensures you can get the bomb as close and quickly to the center as possible of the Graviton. Under ideal conditions, the short toss is the best technique, but it requires perfect coordination, execution, and a lot of practice. As for the nosedive, I prefer to never use it. It's just too inconsistent, and you are more prone to making a mistake because of the difficult angle estimation and reliance on map architecture. Hopefully you found this video helpful. I want to give special thanks to Speakeasy for creating the custom practice map and inspiring me to create this video. Also Mystiic, who is a contenders level D.Va main on Team Triumph Gaming. You can find more information on both of them in the video description.